pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
My wife is a professional technology. I need to recall for
Is that coming on? Yeah. Stop it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, the pledge of allegiance has been said. Yes, sir.
Here we have a mic.
Does everybody's mic work? Kind of test it, make sure you're okay.
Done. Yep.
Okay, Don, yours was on. Yep, good. Clint, yours, I think. Sharon or
Yep.
Karen, yours is on. Okay. Number 3, roll call of commission members. Karen, please.
Jim Dedhoff, Don C.
Don. Sit again.
Don C.
Yeah, sorry. I hear you now.
Lee Van Lake,
Here.
Cherry Lipstein.
Here.
Van Nelson.
Okay, we've got 4 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum. Okay, we need to approve the agenda and its posting. Karen, do you have agendas to pass out or?
I emailed them out.
Okay. What I did was I reread the thing, and to me, there was a lot missing, so I redid.
This is the agenda.
What is the agenda?
Mr. Chair, you're on the agenda.
You're
I don't
talking-
to approve the agenda right now, not the minutes. Is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my mistake. We are doing the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, moved by Van, seconded by, I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded that we accept the agenda as printed. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, it's been passed. Okay, then we'll go down to number 5, review and approve the January 21st meeting minutes. Karen?
Yes.
Do you have any minutes to pass out?
Yeah.
I've already passed
We
them
do
out.
have-
They should be
okay.
right in front of you.
Yeah. Okay. So has everybody had a chance to look them over?
Yes, and thank you, Karen. This is the, I just said it was the minutes. Over the course of my time on here, did a great job with these.
Okay, anybody else? I think they're pretty straightforward. It includes most everything that we talked about last time and with the detail that we are sorely in need of. So with that, I have a motion to accept the minutes.
I would move.
Okay, moved by Van, seconded by
Discussion.
Sherry. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Sherry did. So, Karen, did you have any comments?
Just a couple of little things that were on there that I wanted to just repair.
Karen, would you use your mic?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I had the light on. Sorry, apologize.
Put your mouth down the mic.
Yep, I'm sorry. So I just, there's a couple of things about the minutes.
Your mic down?
Yes. There's a
Just talk a little closer to it.
There's a couple of things about the minutes that I just want to make sure that the committee makes sure to watch for. The minutes should be very specific as it only applies to agenda items. So just for future reference, we need to be very careful to stick to the agenda topics. So as it talks about the Teddy Roof Fund, that is not a Veteran Service Office line item. And it does not apply. It's a county line item. But for future reference, I think it's important that that the minutes reflect only the agenda items that were discussed, because it could be construed as off topic. So that's the first thing, and again, that's just for in the future. And then number 10, the number of the monthly visitors logs were discussed. A second form, the VA forms filed log, has been introduced at a previous meeting. No report on this form was given. There was no report called for on that form. So there was no report on the form because I was not to report on the form. So I just, again, think that we need to be really, really careful about sticking to the agenda items when the minutes reflect it. For any new committee members, if you would like to, you can look at other counties' minutes. Crawford County is a good example because they have almost the exact same population as us. And that can give you a really good indicator or Sauk is really good minutes. Vernon County, it's really hard to find their minutes, but you can peruse the websites. But so as far as future minutes go, I just think it's really important to stick to the agenda items because minutes reflect, it could be construed that we were off topic.
Mr. Chairman. Like that.
Oh, you just turned it off.
Speak close.
Yeah. I want to be polite here. The reference to the Teddy Roof Fund evolved from the line item of the budget. And it was totally appropriate to bring up that question. I brought up the question of the Teddy Roof Fund in conjunction with expenditures and in conjunction with the Sailors and Soldiers Relief Fund, which was brought up, and that is an adjunct of the Veteran Service Office. The Teddy Roof Fund was dedicated and restricted for aid to needy veterans. So I politely disagree with you, Karen, when you attempt to correct the committee's agenda, keeping in mind that the context and arrangement of the agenda and particularly the agenda falls within the purview of the committee members, and it is not appropriate for a staff member to correct the committee or attempt to correct the committee. The agenda is the committee's business. The same applies to the second objection. So I would politely disagree with you.
I understand that. If I
And
just
so let's not continue the discussion.
No, I agree with you. It should have been its own topic because the Teddy Roof Fund in no way relates to my office. It was under budget, and it shouldn't have been under budget. It should have had its own agenda item as it applies. That's what I.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Okay, if I can make one more comment before this is, when this was done, it was an extension of the conversation we were having, and very few of us were even aware of its existence, and that's why we went forward with it. The second one, we all talked about both forms in previous meetings. Fortunately, what we're doing is videotaping everything now, so they can be. I'm sorry. Should I start over? I agree with Don that this was an extension of the agenda that dealt with the budget And it's a separate paragraph. It goes on because it was an important conversation that we had had. And as far as the second one is concerned, several months ago, we introduced both forms at the same time. And we are videotaping everything. So there can no longer be an objection as to what was said or not said because we've got it on tape.
I have the
So,
transcript right here if you'd like to review it.
okay. The question's been called. So if you don't mind, we can vote on this, please. All in favor of accepting the minutes as read? Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been passed. It's accepted as written.
Mr. Chairman, point of information.
Yes.
Should all recall that a motion, an action was taken by the committee at the last meeting. Motion was made and seconded, passed unanimously by the committee. Motion was made and passed unanimously by the committee, requesting that the CVSO write a letter to Mr. Southwick and request information regarding the petty refund in the Richland County Bank. She was asked to work with, consult with and work with her manager, Mr. Landgraf, in accomplishing that. So I think the minutes were totally in order.
Thank you very much. And we will cover that section under number 11 on today's agenda. That's a part of that. And any other comments before we move forward? Okay. One thing I might interject at this point, it's now 10:15. Our county administrator, Clint, is going to have to leave early because he's got another meeting coming up. Sherry's got a doctor's appointment coming up after 11. So I'm going to attempt to hold this meeting to a minimum and kind of stay within time restraints so that we don't overshoot and lose two members that are here currently. So with that having been said, let's go to number 6. After last week's meeting, we had voted to close the meeting, and I was sitting here and I stood up and Jim Deidelhoff came up to me. He gave me a little piece of paper that said on it, I think it was April 6th or something, 2014. And he said with that, he said he's been on for over 6 years. And he said he was tendering his resignation. Now this is after the meeting had been closed. So I'm introducing that at this time because he said he would not be here any longer. He says, this is my last meeting. So that's why Jim is not here today. In respect to that, what we as a committee need to do is accept his verbal resignation. And if that be the case, I would motion that we accept his resignation. May I have a second, please? Oh, turn your speaker on. Go ahead.
I'll second the motion with request for a comment.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we accept Jim Deidelhoff's resignation from this commission. And Don, you had something more to say?
We thank Mr. Deidelhoff for his service to the commission over these 6 years. In terms of formality, the acceptance of the resignation is not official until it is forwarded to the county board for formal acceptance, because many members are appointed by the county board. So this will have to move forward to personnel, finance, the county board for acceptance. With our recommendation that it be accepted. Bless them. Okay.
Thank you, Don. I think this follows the same procedure that Van brought up last time about having to go to personnel and then committee on committees and then the entire county board, because we really have nothing to do with that. We simply report that we have a vacancy and it's up to them to take applications. Before this meeting, I spoke with the people in Victor Vlasic's office, and they agreed to have a depository where anyone wishing to apply for the vacancy may do that, leave it there. And Marty Brewer, who is the chairman of the entire. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't realize that.
Question, can
Yes.
can you verbally confirm who motioned and accepted for number 6?
Okay, I motioned to accept his resignation, and was it Don? Seconded. And so we're simply dealing with that, and I kind of overstepped that into number 7, so thanks, Van. So let's just, I think we'll vote on accepting that, and then we'll move to the next item. So all in favor of accepting Don's resignation, or Jim's resignation? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so moved. And my mistake. Now we go to 7, discuss the timeline. Don kind of instituted this before, which is good. And Karen, you had a comment?
So for number 7, you said that the method to fill the vacancy is to drop off a letter of interest to the county clerk's office,
Correct.
but there's no timeline. And
There
then-
is no timeline. At this point, there is no timeline because our motion to accept his resignation now goes to the other committees. And once they've accepted and approved it, then we can start talking about a timeline. The way I see this is that
it
ours
should-
is the last meeting of, all the committees on the county board. So it'll have to be introduced early next month to those boards. And once they're accepting it, then we can deal with it. And my thought is that, we've got time so that people that would like to apply have time to do that. And we won't run into the same problem we had last time. I think maybe that was a bit rushed, but I want to make sure we've got plenty of time. We can operate with 4 board members at this point, and I think we're in good shape. Karen?
Since the county board meeting is before this meeting, should
Correct.
we make next meeting the cutoff, or when the new?
No. I think what we need to do is hear from the other committees that they've accepted this. And at our next meeting, we'll bring that up. We'll accept the fact that they have acknowledged that. And at that point, along with Marty Brewer, we will make a determination when the end date should be. And my guess is, now we're going to meet again next month. Maybe a couple of weeks after that would be plenty of time. So we've got lots of time for people to get their stuff in, to consider what they're doing. There won't be a rush. So next time we'll have the 4 of us, and the following meeting, if things go well, we should have a 5th member. So that's kind of the way I think things will proceed. So Karen, did you have anything more?
Nothing.
Just if I could, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just
sir.
to kind of caveat on Karen's comment, just so we have an expectation on like a no later than time, so that I know how to maneuver with Karen and with Victor's office. Are you looking for a confirmation by the county board as early as March, or is April? We'll have to put some mechanics in piece for the posting to let
Right.
folks know when the no later time is, and then we'll have to schedule a committee on committee meetings.
Right.
So there'll be some mechanics. So I guess if we could at least just kind of have a target no later than month, that would help us
Well, you've
put
got,
those together.
you're part of this entire process. What would you suggest?
If you're comfortable with waiting until April, that would give us ample time for posting, to get
Okay.
applications in.
Is that acceptable, everyone?
How it would,
I mean, other than, we wouldn't set the timeline.
the whole timeline would pretty much be once once the county board says this is after or confirming the appointment of the position, then that's usually effective that date. Karen, did you have a comment to kind of-
No, it's not a problem. It's just an addendum to what you're talking about. I've actually had veterans in the community reach out to my office and ask that we publish in the paper that we're looking for a new citizen candidate. And if that happens, then I would have to use the office budget to run it, but in the last couple of weeks, they did ask that we publish it in the newspaper. I guess that's why I was asking for a timeline.
Okay.
Something for the committee to consider.
Thank you.
Mr.
And
Chairman.
that's exactly where I was going with that. I think that's good. Don, turn your mic on.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we set a deadline for May 15th.
Okay, January, February, March. Let's see, we meet later in March. And I would guess at that time, we will know from the other boards, that they've accepted this.
There's no rush.
Say it again?
There's no rush.
No. So what were you suggesting then as a date?
My motion was to set a deadline for May 15th.
Yeah, because what do you, discussion?
Look, Mr. Chair, if I could just to
Sure.
clarify, to make sure he would have his motion and then you could have it seconded and then open it for discussion. Supervisor Seep, was that deadline for May 15th for application deadline, or is that for?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Don moved that this be May 15th. By that date, people should have their applications in. Van seconded that motion. Discussion. Karen?
I'm just looking at the calendar and I just want you guys to be made aware that May 15th is a Saturday. And May 20th will be our meeting date for that month. I just want to make sure you guys know what days those fall.
You can make it May 14th.
Okay, so we can adjust that to May 14th. Are you altering your
I
motion?
revised my motion.
Okay, Van? Okay, let's revise that to the 14th then.
And that's when all the letters of interest need to be submitted prior to the close of business day.
Yeah, by that day noon. And that way we've got lots of time. Everybody interested will be able to take care of that. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's passed then. So we've got a deadline for application of people in the public to submit things. And like I say, Victor Vlasik's office said that they would accept these things. They will put together a separate spot to put them. Marty Brewer will pick them up, carry them to the appropriate committees, and there they will deal with this item, and they will let us know then what the results are. Okay? So with that, then we can move to number 8. We've got the monthly visitors log that Karen was providing. Karen?
It's been passed out.
Okay. So what day of the week was the first? Was that?
On Monday.
Well, that was a Monday. Good. Okay. So looks like you're pretty heavy. The 43 on the 15th. That was just a short while ago. Okay, any questions on this form? Any of the numbers that are there?
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Karen, for providing this. I would ask, Mr. Chair, that this be considered a mail-out agenda item so that committee members would have a responsibility to prepare comments and do it in advance of the meeting. This is common practice among various committees in the county, and it's helpful to the committee members to have an opportunity to study and review reports and documents in advance. So I appreciate this being prepared for us. With that, I have no comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. Karen?
Mr. Seep, you're reviewing the wrong form. And also we've had somebody that's online that says that you're very hard to hear online, and if you could speak closer to your microphone, they're having a hard time hearing you online. But the sheet that the monthly review log is the one that's on your left, up ahead of your microphone. That's the one that we're reviewing right now. Yep, the one that Sherry has in her hand. It's the one that's right next to your.
All right, thank you. Can I just repeat my comment?
I'm sorry.
Repeat my comment that I would like to.
Turn your mic up, please. Turn your mic on. And then speak close, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion requesting that these working documents, work documents, any other document that we request for study, that we request to be made, emailed to us in advance so that we have an opportunity to review and study them.
Okay, so it's been moved. Is there anyone who would like to second that?
I'll wait for discussion.
Okay, is anybody would like to second? Okay, Van seconds that, and that brings us to discussion then. Clinton?
Mr. Chair, if I could ask again for clarification on behalf of staff, if we're going to send out the information earlier, I'm sure we can accommodate that through Karen's office, but then I'd be looking to specify on kind of that cutoff date, because then we're going to have a week or two perhaps that we're not going to be able to present to you. So if we did want to present the information to you in March, Karen, would it be fair then to say that we would send off like the closure of February? Would that be?
It would be organized. The advantage of doing it this way is I was able to get you yesterday's numbers. So if you want them mailed out, there's going to be a big gap where the numbers are not current and up to date. As long as you're good with that, that's absolutely possible.
Hey, Sherry, what do you think?
And is there a key to what each of these are? Am I not finding that in what we've been handed out? I'm confused in terms of, okay, what does this 33 mean for calls? And then, you know, there are all these numbers and I'm not sure what they mean.
Turn your mic on, Karen.
C is calls and communications, and V is visitors. It's the same as last month. It's the same form that we looked at last month.
So just the two items, basically you're keeping track of.
Well, I mean, no, actually, so the C stands for more than just calls. It also stands for communication, faxes, emails, a lot of emails, a lot of faxes. But the C is more of communications than anything else, because a lot of people do online communicating. So the C stands for calls/communications.
It just seems like to me that something was broken down a bit more the last meeting so that we knew specifically what folks were coming in for, that kind of, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I dreamt that. So anyway,
the new form
Sherry,
that,
that's the second sheet.
yep,
here.
this is the second sheet, but that was only voted on this past month.
thank you.
No, Van, you had a question?
Karen, are you doing this on Ledger, or are you doing it through a Excel program, or how are you gonna know your totals and how you can do your averaging, and you're doing all that by Ledger?
By hand.
I don't know how you can find your averages and your totals and where time is being consumed and everything by doing it through a Ledger.
Well, we work 35-hour weeks. And so to average,
I don't believe that it takes any longer to put this in an Excel sheet than it is to put it on this paper and have to print it a dozen times. And if you have this on an Excel sheet, then you can email that right to all of the members with just a click of the button. We have no way of, we don't even have totals on here.
the totals for the day, that's what the
You can make that much better. If you have trouble making an Excel sheet on it, you can find help to get set
If I can
It would
enter,
be very informative. to have it.
if I can interject on
Yeah,
behalf of
Clint.
staff again, if there's additional informations that you're looking for with gathering, whether it's the statistics on averages or totals, by all means, if you can, as a group, kind of make a motion and have discussion on how you would like that the tracking forms to change and the different information that you'd like. We can certainly work to accommodate.
I agree with what Clint just said. And man, this is kind of confusing. It's a nice way of keeping track of stuff, but what I'd like to do is kind of go through the week, have Mondays across, Tuesdays across. That way we can actually compare day to day, during the course of a week, how things stack up. So I think this is a work in progress, and we should maybe look at how we can, perfect this. And so far as mailing this out in advance, I like what Van said, that it'd be very difficult to get this information, not have it complete. Right now, this is nice, but it really does not, get to me what it is I'm looking for. So what we need to do maybe is to set a time aside and maybe all of us rethink this and see how we can come up with a form that, indicates better what it is that we're trying to find out. So anyways, we have a motion on the floor, which is to mail these out in advance. Clint suggested maybe, month by month, which we could do, but then Karen said, that would not be up to date. So, I mean, this is a problem. So where would you suggest we go from here? I mean, we've got this motion to deal with. Should we maybe plan this at the next meeting to deal with specifically so that we can come up with something maybe that's a little bit more coherent?
Mr. Chairman, I think that it would be helpful for the chair to consult with our administrator and come back with some ideas.
Okay,
So,
would that work?
It does, again, just looking to understand what the expectations are of the members so that we know how to prepare a document for the information that you would like. And whether it's individual things that you're looking at, that's good, but then at the same time, it would be nice to have a motion from the body of if we come back with a couple different examples that you're able to say, yes, this is the one we'd like you to go forward with.
Okay, so if that be the case, Sherry?
Aren't there other offices that are doing the same thing? And
I
I'm
suspect-
wondering, aren't there other forms that would be beneficial for us not to have to reinvent a wheel that's already out there
Right.
somewhere?
This one actually comes from Viroqua. But
This one?
this one came from Viroqua. I'm sure others are out there, and I think that Karen might have contact with other CVSOs that may help us out and not reinvent the wheel that's already there. So Karen,
Just
your
for-
mic's not on.
Just for a little background, there's a computer program that the other 71 counties in the state have. We're the only ones that don't have it. And it auto-populates all the numbers that this committee is asking for with this. So
what's the cost of that program?
I can definitely, yes, I've actually had Barb, she can speak to this. The previous committee voted that we finally get it. However, they felt that we should stand down and wait for action on this committee since it was changing over so quickly. And then it was suggested here that we should wait longer. But Barb has looked at it. It's the same program that the city of Richland Center uses. I don't know how to say that properly, but she has identified it. She's looked at it. But that's the reason why other counties is because they all have this computer program that auto-populates all of this information.
Mr. Chairman?
So that's why it's much easier for them.
Barb Scott has taken the mic. She's going to explain that a bit further.
Karen did come to me and she asked for help with that. It is a program that will work really well to give you a lot of valuable information about the things she does. It'll also make it easier for Karen because it's designed for the work she's doing. I think that it would solve a lot of your problems, if I remember correctly, and it's between $1,800 and $2,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But I think that that's money well spent.
I agree, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Don?
I fully agree, and we should put this on the agenda for the next meeting. Provide us with a proposal for its purchase, with the details of what it costs, and move forward to it. I do find it interesting that I reviewed the minutes of the last 2 years, and I saw no discussion about this in the minutes.
And Barb can speak to the meeting that it happened at. I actually asked her to come and she briefed the committee where they voted it in, and she could speak to that meeting as well.
Okay,
I'm sorry it wasn't in the minutes.
I think we're straying a little bit from monthly visitors log, if I may
okay,
interject, Mr. Chairman.
let's save this for number 14 for the next agenda. So at that time, let's pick this up. But in the meantime, we've got a motion on the floor. Karen, before we,
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
so my suggestion is that we maybe vote this down at this time and kind of move forward with more stuff that Don had talked about and kind of deal with the realities and what we're able to do more constructively. Okay. So either he can rescind it or we can just simply vote it down, and that way we start fresh. Is that okay?
You want to bring it up for next month? Gotta get rid of this one. Bring it back.
Okay, well, what do you suggest? Should, because if we,
If the motion was seconded, was it seconded?
yeah, Van seconded it.
Okay, the motion belongs to the body, so someone from the floor, from the body rather, must make a motion to rescind the motion,
Okay.
to withdraw the motion,
Make a motion to withdraw them.
Okay,
and they need a second.
Sherry moves to withdraw and I will vote to second that. Karen?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the second have to take his motion to second and then it's rescinded from the author?
Yes, if we had done.
Yeah,
We can let the
Motion and the second people.
all right. I think that you need to rescind first as the second, and then Don needs to rescind as the author of the motion.
Wouldn't it be easier just to vote it down and not have to? do it?
What Van is trying.
And I'm missing something, I'm sorry.
What Van is saying is that if it's voted down, then it can't necessarily be brought back a second time if it's this,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you. So
So it needs to be rescinded by the author.
I need help.
Yes, you're looking for then for Supervisor Seep to rescind his motion and then for Supervisor Nelson to rescind his second. And at that point, then it is completed and we can move on.
Okay, Don, would you rescind your motion?
Well.
Okay,
I asked it
so
before.
Don rescinds his initial motion and Van does his also. So with that, this becomes moot at this time, correct?
I will place it on the next agenda item. Or on
Okay.
the next agenda.
Okay, so is this solved then? We're okay?
Yes.
And we'll move forward with that again on number 14 with what Barb had to suggest. Okay. We'll get there.
Well, I would mention that it probably would have been prudent if we knew about this program a long time ago. I've been here for
Yeah.
4 months and it's never been mentioned. Every time that I ask about forms, ask about Excels, nobody ever said we had a program.
When I have to second that one because I'm relatively new as Sherry is, and it's just, we're kind of all in a quandary here as to what to do with this.
Well, let's get it done.
Okay, so we'll take care of that at the next meeting, Karen. So if you make sure that that's on there. Is there anything further we need to go and do? Now we're to number 9. The VA forms log, which Karen passed out to us.
This is the new form that was voted on last month. That's to be incorporated every month from now on. And I've included those numbers on there.
Can you also incorporate that into that program?
It does. Yep.
So
That,
this is some new point now.
Excellent, okay. so we can cover that also.
But since it's gonna be a
top.
topic next month, I'll still put it on for next. month.
Okay, sounds good. So is there any, you want to expand on this at all? Is there anything more to say? What are your observations with the numbers there?
They're pretty constant for what we've been doing the past 6 years.
Okay, so it's very similar to what we had done, and there's nothing really new here. Okay. It's good to know, now when it says, federal VA statement, what does that mean? It's in the very top here.
The 21, the 4138 with the 8, is what you're asking about?
Yes,
That's a layman statement. It's a witness statement, an I statement. If someone saw a veteran get injured during service. I've actually had to find some Vietnam veterans down in the hills of West Virginia and have them write some of these statements. It's just it's an evidentiary type that's sent to the VA along with claims so that it strengthens their case. And then also whenever I have to contact the VA because something has happened, as the representative on record, I will fill these out and forward them to Janesville as well.
okay, thank you. That's good to know, because I had absolutely no idea what to do with that one. Okay,
Mr.
Don?
Chairman, just.
Sure. Turn your mic on.
I want to emphasize the importance of reports to provide accountability
Don, would you speak into your mic, please?
of these reports. They are necessary to provide accountability to the county board and to this committee. And they are an essential tool for us in understanding the workload of that office.
Yes,
And just as it would be for any oversight committee, once we have the data and the information, we can make more informed decisions about staffing, about budget, about equipment, about office space, and any other related items. It's very difficult to evaluate the performance of an employee without data. And so this is an essential tool for us, and not the only tool that we will be looking at. Thank you.
okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we're all in the same boat here, so we need to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. Karen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just, I do have an update for number 10. Sorry,
Okay, go
I
ahead.
jumped ahead. So for number 10, DAV van updates, there is an exciting update. They have changed their policy and they are now taking veterans to not just the VA, but to VA appointments. So if the VA scheduled them for appointments in La Crosse or Janesville or Fond du Lac for specific doctor's visits, the DAV van will now be accommodating those veterans. So it's very exciting. So they're going to be
Excellent.
traveling to other places besides just Madison, which opens up the door for more veterans to get free transportation that they need. So that's my report for number 10.
Not a problem. That sounds great. I'm glad to hear that. And then public input at this point. Oh, wait, no, we're going to budget. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Budget
So number
updates.
11, the only thing that's different for the budget was we had to pay our annual dues for the National County Veteran Service Office. So it was $100 for 2 members. That's other than monthly. And then the other thing is that I want to tell you, it will be coming up. I'm going to be working with Barb. She's given me quotes for printers. I just want you guys to be able to see what I'm looking at. So this will be an expense coming up. Our printer is 5 years old, and it has started developing an attitude problem. It's printing half sheets and we've for months now we've had technical the IT department coming over to try to kind of figure out what's wrong. And again, Barb can speak to that. So for like printers, as opposed to the one that we have, these are similar models with costs. I do have a couple of questions. I have not spoke with Barb yet about what our needs are gonna best fit, but I just wanted to let you guys know, this is just a slight heads up that this will be something I'm bringing to you next month, to get approved. Being said it's over $500, I need to have committee approval.
Okay,
So this will be coming up, but it'll be one of these models.
yeah, I expect that over time, I mean, as we move more and more toward technical aids, I know at home, you know, when we do stuff, we have to continually upgrade because we have to kind of keep up with the times, and speed makes a big difference. And of course, accuracy does also. So as you do this, what you have and what you're proposing, is this going to be adequate for you?
Yes.
It will be.
Yes, one of these three will be the right choice, I fully believe. I've taken Barb's advice on every other thing we've ever ordered in the office.
Okay.
And she knows,
Well, she's an excellent
she
advisor.
really is. I
So,
highly value her opinion.
We've
And
relied
so,
on her forever for our home stuff,
so one of these three will be our best option. And when I speak with her offline and we figure out which one and her recommendation, then next month I will be putting it on the agenda to have that approved.
great.
One of these. Like I
Excellent.
said, it's just a heads up. And then as
Okay.
far as the other budget updates, it's almost time to order cemetery flags. It always stays below the 500 mark when I order the flags. They're about 110 per box.
Okay,
So it will be an expense, but I won't need to have permission to do that. So
okay. Even though you may not have permission, the information that you gave to Sherry, if you'd share that and any other information, you know, with us all as a group, that'd be fantastic. I really appreciate, you know, knowing what your expenditures are and how we might help.
Yep.
This being the primary thing, so.
Yep.
Do let us know, and that way we can kind of work together on getting these things solved. And if there's a problem, we can find another way to kind of get around it if at all possible. Okay, anything else on the budget?
not at this time.
Thank you. Public input at this point. Marge, anybody else want to speak? Okay, you guys are okay? Okay, then we'll move on to future agenda items. And here we get back to what Karen had spoke about earlier. And that was the forms here, and maybe upgrading to something that is more acceptable and usable. So Karen, would you make sure that gets on the agenda for next time?
So I'll just, future agenda items, I'll just let you know what I have so far. If you guys
Okay,
this time, then just let me know. So far, I have got the monthly visitors log. I have got the VA forms log. I have DAV van updates, budget updates, public input, future agenda items, and date for next meeting. Those will all be concurrent again next month.
okay. Any additions? Anybody here? Don, turn your speaker on.
This time.
Okay. Don, that worked good. Sherry, do you have anything?
I think it went away if I did. So no.
Okay, and Dan, you're okay?
On that program are working on, you got that on there for,
Yeah, and then Barb, will you be able to maybe address that with us next time? Fantastic. Clint, do you have any input?
Don't, thank you, folks.
Okay, so we're done with that then. At future agenda items, we'll make sure those get on. If there's anything prior to that that comes up, please contact me, and Karen and I will get together and work on that. Karen?
It just so happens that the date for the next meeting is the exact same as this. It's the 18th of March. If that
Yes,
works for
yeah, the
everybody.
2 months are always the same, so that'll be great. So we're setting the next date at this point. It'll be next March 18th at 10 o'clock in this room. Same as always. So with that, everybody's in agreement. We're okay. And I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Clint.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Okay, I'm sorry that Ben had his hand up first. Okay, we'll let Don go first. Don moved, Ben seconded. We'll kind of go with the flow here. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Somebody say aye. Come on. We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Karen, thank you.
the meeting is closed.
Is somebody have to?
No, this is the meeting.
This is not committee related, Don. You don't have to give one.
Veterans health concern.
It's just a new thing that, it's informational, it's available to the public. I just thought you guys would like to see it.
Would have been more appropriate to hand this out during the meeting.
It's not meeting related, Don. It's open to the public.
That's okay.
Just
We
a
got
handout.
it as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Thank you. So, how you go home, stay safe. Yeah, so we closed at what, about 10?